Should convenience stores be serving alcohol and selling alcohol in Ontario? Anne Leonard says no. It's James with Net News Ledger. There's something happening in southern Ontario that could be impacting us here in western Ontario, and that's the sale of and serving of alcohol in convenience stores. Anne Leonard is joining us from Toronto from a group that's Arrive Alive. And Anne, what's the story? What do our readers and viewers need to know?
Okay, so I should start by letting your readers and viewers know Arrive Alive is a charity. We've been trying to raise awareness, and very successfully, about impaired driving for, it'll be 33 years this year. But so we've been tracking the whole selling beer and wine in corner stores for the last 8 to 10 years, I guess. And the Convenience Store Association and corner stores have been pushing for this, whether it's a Couche-Tard or Circle K or 7-Eleven. But recently 7-Eleven came out and said they've submitted 61 applications, applications for 61 locations at 7-Elevens to actually serve alcohol or beer and wine. In the States, they serve spirits. But I never like to think that we're going to go the route that the States has done, and no disrespect to the States, but Ontario has much safer roads, much better health facilities and healthcare system. So we really think that having beer served and sold in corner stores would be catastrophic, not at all good for road safety. And it comes at a time when we're actually seeing an increase in injuries and death on our roads. Going back to about 2015, the Ontario Road Safety Annual Report put out by the Ministry of Transportation has shown us that our impaired driving fatalities have gone up from, for example, in 2015, 148 people died because of impaired driving. And in 2017, it was up to 208. So for decades, we've been gaining, we've been winning, right? We've been seeing fewer deaths, fewer fatalities, fewer injuries, less impaired driving. And this has really taken a turn in the wrong direction.
Well, I'm dating myself a little bit, but I remember back when I was in my early 20s, the attitude back then, going back 40 years ago, was, I had to drive home. I was too drunk to walk. And people had this, macho idea, men had to drive drunk, and some of them convinced themselves they drove better drunk than sober. And,
yes.
And we've watched the numbers drop. We're watching increases now. We're seeing that here in Thunder Bay. The Thunder Bay police have noted increased impaired driving charges. And what are the 7-Elevens are basically looking not only to want to sell a 6-pack or maybe an individual beer, but they're also looking at serving drinks.
Yeah, and their locations are open 24 hours a day, which is a problem. And I'm sure they'll say that they would only operate within these hours and those hours. Everything gets stretched. So you get permission to do a little of this. You can open on Sundays. All of a sudden you're open longer hours on Sundays. We've seen even the AGCO, the Alcohol Gaming Commission of Ontario, has allowed different hours for like international soccer tournaments. So you can have a beer at 8 a.m, and you need to shut that down, though. That can only be temporary. You can't allow that to go on. So we have seen, as you're saying, since I got involved in the issue in 1981, so I've seen a lot of changes. Our Highway Traffic Act has changed. Our criminal code has changed. The consequences for impaired driving have increased dramatically over the years. So one instance of impaired driving now would cost a person probably $26,000 if they want to drive again, between the programs you have to take, the increase to your insurance, et cetera. I won't get into all of it because there's like so many consequences when you're convicted. But if you want to drive again, it's a very costly thing. And that's if you don't hit anything, right? So we've seen the more recent changes. We've seen a 0 BAC for truck drivers, 0 BAC for young drivers, and 0 cannabis for young drivers. And I think the recent change that's coming is 0 BAC for driving instructors when they are out in a vehicle with a student. So, and we've really built a culture of safety, right? When it comes to serving alcohol and getting behind the wheel. More and more people will stop a friend from getting behind the wheel, right? And yeah, and that's a wonderful thing to do. We run a program called Operation Lookout that invites you to report a road user if you see someone driving impaired. You can report them immediately as a crime in progress so that they can be taken off the road. They might be suffering a medical emergency, right? Yes. When you see someone weaving or what, and chances are good that they're intoxicated, but get them off the road before they crash. That's a wonderful thing to do. And people will intervene if they're having a party. They'll say, "Oh no, stay over," and so that's wonderful. And we, like I say, we've come so far and doing a lot of good things. But the last couple of years, we've just seen a whole opening up. I think there's 400 grocery stores now selling beer and wine, and it's just going on and on. Some of the studies that were done a while back showed us that I think 96% of Ontarians are within 10 minutes of someplace, either an agency store or a beer store or a liquor store, right? So it's not like we're really struggling to find a place to buy our alcohol, right?
One of the things we noticed during the pandemic was, the beer store and the LCBO were given special dispensation to stay open. And I asked about that, and I was told that one of the reasons is there's so many people suffering addictive issues with alcohol that to close down the LCBO and the beer store would cause health problems. That's not a great message out there for what Ontario needs to do.
Well, I don't have the LCBO numbers in front of me, but billions of dollars in sales, I'm sure, or hundreds of millions, whatever. It's huge numbers. Then the other reason they would have let them stay open is because all the licensed premises were closed.
Yes.
So people who might have normally gone for dinner and had a glass of wine or, a couple of drinks with friends or something, they weren't going there to have anything. So they did close. I know they closed on Mondays, I think, some of them, and the beer store would only take back empties on certain days. So, trying to make it all work and keeping everything clean. The other thing with the pandemic is everybody's been stuck at home. I've seen people driving like really crazy driving. I think people are starting to lose it a little bit.
Very true.
But I want to mention one other thing about our letter and our media release is that we did post a petition at change.org. If people want to sign a petition to petition, I think it's the Attorney General, Doug Downey, to ask him to say no to these applications, right? So it's change.org, and you can complain directly, which is my favorite way to complain, at the agco.ca, and you have to go through and find a place where you can actually post a complaint or contact someone and say you're against this. So it's just no disrespect to corner stores, right? But selling and serving alcohol, you have to be trained to do it. You have to be inclined or able to refuse a sale. So if I work at the LCBO and I turn down, 10 customers in a day, I still get paid, right? But if you own and operate a convenience store and you turn down, a whole bunch of customers, you're not going to make the same money. So there can be an inclination to sell, even if someone, maybe they're intoxicated. And if you have, our complaint about the grocery stores is that they have a lot of young people. Some of them have a lot of young people working in them, right? Who might be less inclined to double check. And, we have the same issues with cigarettes, not our charity, but, public health has, these challenges. So,
Anne, if someone wants to reach your organization, where do they do it?
Oh, sorry. Our website is arrivalive.org, and you can email us through the website, or I think my phone number is there. I don't want everybody calling me, but if you really care, go ahead. Yeah, that would be the way to contact us, would be through our website.
And I thank you for taking the time this afternoon to talk about this important issue, because for our readers and viewers in Western Ontario, Thunder Bay to Kenora, there's only one 7-Eleven in Dryden, but it's a little bit of a slippery slope we're standing on here, and we do have an issue with impaired driving in our region, so it's Ontario-wide.
And it'll move through. If it happens at one convenience store, everybody's going to want to do it, and it's just not good practice. It's not good policy. It would be very hard for a convenience store to actually serve alcohol responsibly. I can't imagine, to use their washroom, you're supposed to have food available. There's hours of service. There's, there's just so much that goes on, right? So I'll give a call out to, we have a road safety colleague in Thunder Bay with the Ministry of Transportation, Tom Marinas, probably everybody knows him, very popular guy. And they do a ton of road safety stuff up there, like with snowmobile safety and school bus safety and some of the seasonal specific, whether it's, hunting and swimming or whatever. So.
Right. Well, I thank you very much for the time this afternoon, and we'll be in touch.
Thank you very much, James. Take care. Stay well.
To keep up to date, you have to subscribe. You have to hit that like button and hit the notification to stay in touch.